Everybody in here hear of the Hobart Institute of Welding Technology?
I've heard of it.
You guys have heard of it? Has anybody ever visited the school?
Where is it?
It's in Troy, Ohio, just north of Dayton.
You got all your curriculum though.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Is it working?
Good stuff.
That's right. You're the one that approached me at breakfast this morning.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Thank you very much. It's always nice to get some positive feedback. So what I did was I picked a topic that said critical roles for trade school, and I was asked to give a talk. About 15, 20 things came to mind. I am a director of the school. I'm responsible for planning and development. So I'm responsible for not necessarily where the school is today, but I'm really responsible for where the school is going to go, not just as a company or an organization, but our involvement in the industry as a whole. You guys know the welding industry is extremely large. Before I came to the school, I spent about 24 years in robot automation for arc welding. I'm actually a graduate of this school. I attended their 9-month program back in 1987, and it was one of the best choices I ever made. So here I am, full circle in my career as a director of the school, and I'm also a CWI, Certified Welding Inspector. Any CWIs in the crowd? A lot of respect for you guys. That's a tough exam. So a little bit of the outline of the presentation. What I did was, this is all strategically thinking, and strategically thinking meaning we're going to think about this as a group, and we'll provide some feedback as a group. And this isn't to solve issues, but this is to generate some good awareness, some good discussions. So some things we'll talk about a little bit about the vision with the help of AWS. Talk a little bit about the state of welding, which is a very broad topic. Jobs, and then filling the gap. And then placement focus, which is really key. This is a quick outline. This is the education, the image of the workforce. And this is a large paragraph. I got this from AWS. But I just highlighted some key things to kind of set the vibe of where this talk is going to go. People issues. Anybody ever have a conversation about people issues in the industry? Whether it's youth, adults. There's a couple other things they talk about. This is the vision. Critical need to attract top quality personnel to the welding community. A personal belief is I don't think we have a worker shortage in this industry. I think we have a talent shortage. I think we need to get more people that are educated in this business where they can be deployed back into industry. What else? Proactively, which I think is key. Proactively nurture the growth of educational opportunities for people choosing welding. Right? A lot of times, one of the biggest pet peeves, and I hope this doesn't make anybody mad, one of the biggest pet peeves, we visit hundreds of schools a year. We see community colleges, but at the high school level, there are some welding programs in this industry that are fantastic. State of Indiana's got some incredible ones. Down in Texas, they're doing some incredible things with welding programs. Just in Arizona, they're looking to invest in welding programs. But when you've got a good welding program at a career center or a high school level where these youth are 17, 18 years old, they're a breeding ground for companies, right? And breeding grounds come in to these instructors and they say, hey, you got any great welders? Yeah, out of my program that I get these guys for 30 minutes a day, this is my top welder. Meet John. John's 17. He's not sure what he's going to do after high school yet. He's a senior. Got a girlfriend, played football maybe, right? But he's a great welder. Well, I'd like to have that great welder. I'd like him to come work at my company, and I'm going to pay him, whatever, 16 bucks an hour, 17 bucks an hour, right? Big pet peeve, and you guys are welcome to pipe up. Big pet peeve is companies recruiting these students right out of these high schools. I get the need. I get the need to make money. I get the need that you got production. I get the need you want to pay guys low. But the problem is when production goes back down, what happens? Who's the first ones to get cut? Generally the youngsters. And then he's left out in the cold and he doesn't have the education. Now he's rethinking about school hopefully again. Any comments on that? No? Any opinions? Okay. Last thing is, and you can read a lot of it, we must upgrade the existing workforce through better basic training. I think everybody here agrees with that. Today's welders will be the industry for a long time, and they need to continually improve their skills and their flexibility. Welders will be with the industry for a long time. I got in the industry at high school. I've been in the industry a long time. Who's here been in the industry a long time? A lot of people have been in the industry a long time. I think one of the biggest problems is we don't have enough people coming into the industry, right? If a young student comes to my school and he graduates a program in 9 months as a skilled welder through structural steel and pipe, if he's got good soft skills, if he stays off of drugs, if he shows up on time, got a good attitude, these sort of things, the chance of me getting him or helping him get a job is extremely high. Finding a good welder a job, I don't think is the problem. I think the problem is getting youth and others involved in the industry. Okay? All right. So why is there a shortage? And this is a separate topic all on its own. We can talk for days in here. I call it the good, bad, and the ugly. Anybody seen the movie? Good movie. One of my favorite. So why is there a shortage? Let's talk about youth. Maybe they don't want to get into welding. Take a young man, high school student. He's not going to get into it maybe because, oh, you know, that helmet's so dark, I'm claustrophobic. Maybe it's too hot. Maybe it's nasty. Maybe he knew somebody that was going home at night blowing black boogers. You know, maybe it was too low a pay. I think I can argue every one of these, actually. It's sweaty. It's blue collar. It's bad for your health. Makes your eyes go bad. More than half of us in here wear glasses. The rest of you, when you turn 40, you'll be wearing glasses. Too much smoke. No jobs, really. Others. This is a list of items that aren't just out of my mind, but these are items that I've gotten from others telling me, just kind of keeping a notepad on what people are saying, things that kind of make you chuckle. Is there anything you guys can add to this list? Yeah?
I'm going to step back for what you said before, you know.
Sure.
When they pull the students out of high school and stick them in the low-end, low-wage jobs in the workforce, and then they lay them off, they say, well, welding isn't for me because there was no opportunities and they never had the chance to move up. So they're hurting them in two different ways that way, with the low wages, low-end jobs, and not really giving them the chance to really learn a career.
Agreed. When I was in robot automation, I've seen a lot of, when I'd go into an account trying to get them to look at buying a robot, they would say, oh, you know, we tried that robot before, it never worked. It did. What happened to it? Oh, it's sitting on the back dock. It's got a blue tarp. It's been wrapped up for 3 years. Right? So we're not interested in robots anymore. We look around, the guy's got 50 arcs going, his volume's high, he's got quality issues. Prime candidate for robot. Right? But he's not using it because the robot was dropped on his dock and whoever integrated it didn't do a very good job, so he got a bad taste in his mouth. So he said, screw it, I'm out of the robot business. Same thing with that student. Thank you. Question?
Yeah, Mike's got a lot of the companies around where I teach, their big deal is you got these students that have a driver's license and can pass a drug test. That's kind of a whole different issue.
Yeah, drugs are a big thing. They affect us all, whether you do them or not. We're all affected by them, I think. Anything else? Anybody want to add to this list? Why does welding suck? What?
Sorry, I didn't mean
No, you're okay.
it's where the bad kids go, is what I hear from a lot of parents.
It's where bad kids go.
Yeah.
Like trade school or low-end.
Low-end trade schools. Do you think, and I'm just throwing it out there, do you think that guidance counselors in high school, that if a child is a C student, D student, good kid, but maybe he's high maintenance, you know, maybe four-year college isn't quite right for you, so what we're going to do is we're going to kick you to shop class, push you to auto mechanics, right? Push you to welding. You think that happens often? It does. It does. I got a school almost full of them. Right? I got almost 300 students in my school, and they all got that story. Not every one of them, but most of them. Tough, tough, tough. Okay. Next topic we'll chat about. So, question for all of us. How do we, not me, but we, how do we increase the interest in the welding industry? Gosh, another topic can last for days, right? How do we increase youth in the welding industry? Every day in my career, I talk about youth. I can tell you youth are just part of it, just part of it. If there's such a shortage of welders in the industry, and I'll show you some stats, and I know everybody's in here's heard them, and the numbers kind of fluctuate. Doesn't matter where the numbers fall, it's still high. There's still a big shortage, still a high demand. Whether it's 220, 250, 255, 260,000, it's still high. Okay, so I guess if you left today and you had a conversation outside of here with somebody else, I mean, these are questions. This is a tough question. How do you increase youth in the welding industry? It's a joint effort. I think it takes a lot of us. It's a tough question to answer. State of welding. You guys have seen this, and I put it twice just to kind of share different situations out of different sources. Shortage of welders, 240,000 by 2019. I've heard that number fluctuate. Average age of a welder is 57, so guys are retiring. 95% of all manufactured products, not all GDP, but all manufactured products require some sort of welding. 450,000 welders approximately employed, 50,000 retire each year, and about 25,000 begin. I can tell you, youth alone isn't going to fill this gap. And this is where I come up with some critical role, because I see it every day, I live with it every day, and I hear about it. Which is, if we're going to help bridge the gap, we need other resources. We need other clients, we need other customers to come into this business. Just youth alone isn't going to fill it, and I'll share it with you. State of welding, manufacturing snapshot. And these are just a couple bullet points. Manufacturers in the US have a talent problem. Anybody disagree with that? Pretty safe statement to say. I didn't think I'd get much argument out of that. Employers struggle to find skilled workers. Duh. It's in the news. It's everywhere. And again, this presentation, again, isn't designed to educate you on these topics. It's to just bring up more awareness, to continue talking about it. This is something that was really cool. This talks about overseas. China, Japan, right? There was a comment that was said that said, if they out-teach us today, they'll out-compete us tomorrow. This falls on the quality that we do as trade schools or career colleges, right? If there's educators in here, how many educators do we got? Instructors? Wow, a lot of you. We should always be looking to improve our training quality. Even if we think we're doing the best today, which we feel we're doing the best today, it's not good enough. I tell my team that we can always learn to train better. There's always things. There's new technologies coming out. There's always extra time we can spend with an individual. We try and tell our students that you should always do better than you did yesterday. Not better than the guy in the booth next to you or the other guy in the booth on the side of you, but you do better than what you did yesterday. You do better than you did in the morning, and you continue to progress yourself. You don't measure yourself against others. The instructors set the benchmark, right? Instructors do a demo, that should be the benchmark. Status of soft skills. Here it is. I paid my money for school, I should be here when I want to. All right? I can take off when I want to. You got my money, I paid my money, right? How many's heard that? I've heard that before. Makes your skin crawl. Impossible to fill available positions. Yeah, I think that's almost every industry. I had a conversation with Procter & Gamble about 3 months ago. Anybody in here from Procter & Gamble? No. Procter & Gamble can't find welders. Making baby diapers, shampoo formula, Tide detergent, can't find welders. They got over 300 plants in this country, and every plant has a maintenance department. They can find a guy that can repair machines, but they can't find guys that can weld stainless steel in a pet food plant. So even the consumer industry is having trouble finding welders. And you wouldn't think about consumer industry as welding, but there's a lot of welders in the consumer industry. Here's a statement that said, in the United States, people do not see manufacturing a desirable career path. Just saw a couple articles this week where manufacturing is coming back. The more you can drive your young people to look at manufacturing as an exciting career, the more open they will be to continuous learning to advance their careers. Jobs. Jobs are plentiful in the welding industry. This is basic welder employment projections. You guys have probably seen this. It basically says by 2016, we're going to need somewhere in the range of 83, 54, depending on what discipline you fall in. I'm not here to preach to you the numbers. The only thing I'm going to say about the numbers is the numbers are big. Right? It's big. So one thing we can do as educators, how many community college guys we got in here? All right. How about you high school guys we got in here? High school instructors. So high school, career colleges, community colleges, four-year universities, right? If we all serve the welding industry, youth, going after the youth isn't enough. I was just in Tucson, Arizona this week, talked to 2 welding classes in Tucson. That's where I graduated from. There's 4 high schools in Tucson that still offer a welding program. They have collaborated together to build their welding programs, not to join them as a career center, but they've put together a campaign that they are going to go market their welding programs to the junior high level. So they're going to make it a point to go visit junior highs and talk to the youth of the 7th and 8th graders to get them interested in welding, that when they finally pick classes for high school, that welding is on their radar. They're hoping that collectively as a group, they got 4 high schools that offer welding. There's more high schools in Tucson, but they have 4 that offer. And there's about 45 middle schools. So they are joining forces. They're going to split up with the same exact message. Yes?
We do that.
Do you?
We do that in South Carolina.
How's that work?
Works good.
Works good.
It works really well. And most junior highs actually have a career day where they're hoping to find community members to come in and tell them about these things. I'll tell you what, you show up with a pickup truck, preferably that did looking cool, with a bunch of welding equipment in the back of it, they're thrilled to death. They won't leave you alone.
Yeah.
You see them 2 years later.
Bless you. Interesting. So that's good to hear that works. Thank you for sharing. But there's more. So youth is just one component, right? What I have learned over the past couple years, that youth, high school students, there's also another youth group that are young adults. And we as a school, as the Hobart Institute, we are proactive, that's the key word, we are proactive in reaching out beyond them and bringing our message back to us, kind of like grabbing them with a rake. Right? We're not going to get everybody, but if we don't do anything, I can tell you how many we're going to get. 0. Right? If you don't do anything, you're going to get nothing. So we got to do something. So being proactive is the key. So it's youth high school students. Captured audience, set up a schedule, visit, go talk to them, great. Next thing is youth adults. There's a lot of youth out there that are adults, 18, 19, I still call them youth. My oldest child is 24, she's still a youth, right? That aren't doing anything, right? They are kind of in limbo and they're not sure. So you got to figure out a way, how do we get out and reach these folks? I'm talking to the community college guys here, right? How do we reach those folks? Women. I have almost 300 students in my school for skill training wanting to be a welder. Fantastic. They want to get into the welding industry. 4% of them are women. Not enough. I'm so close to hiring the very first female. My school's been around 82 years. I'm this close to hiring the very first female instructor the school's ever had. How powerful is that going to be? So not enough women in the industry. I'm telling you that right now. There's not enough women in my school, and there's not enough women entering the industry. So we can't be afraid of them. They don't have cooties. They can weld, right? They can weld. Veterans. I got more veterans today in the school than I've ever had, thanks to the GI Bill. Not saying that's the key, but we are proactively reaching out to veterans in every county, in almost every state. We are trying to get the message out that wide to let these guys know, right? It is so important. Think about a young man, 25, 26, coming back from the military. Maybe he was an infantryman. Coming back, he's going to be parachuted back into his county in whatever state he's from. Maybe he has a young wife, maybe he has a daughter, maybe he has a child. Right? We don't know the situation. But if we don't ever tell him about welding, how is he ever going to make a decision if he want to get into it? I'd rather tell him and tell me no than never tell him at all. Right? Everybody agree? Active military. There is a channel to get in and talk to military guys that are still active, that are getting ready to exit within 5, 6, 9, 18 months. There is a channel. And when I'm done, you guys can take all my contact information. If you have an interest in how to do that, email me when we're done this week, next week, and I'd be happy to share that with you. All right? Career shifters. Anybody in here ever have a job that they hated? Damn, this sucks. Damn, fluorescent lights, Volcano Joe, wasn't it? A lot of career shifters. Second chance adults, guys with criminal records. They're not bad guys, just good guys that made bad decisions sometimes, right? The Burger King. My daughter gave me that one. We're almost good on time. The Burger King. These are young adults that have flipped burgers, right? I'm not stereotyping them, but these are guys that are supporting maybe a family, maybe themselves, can't get out of their parents' house, and they are working low-paying jobs, non-career based, crappy hours, low pay, late nights, greasy shoes, right? Not that it's bad, I did it. But all I'm saying is welding was absolutely fantastic for me in my life. And I hope it was for everybody in here. And if we can reach those folks and tell them about welding, why not? If it can make a difference in one life in your community, it's worth it. Parents, I give tours of our school all the time, and parents walk around with their son or daughter getting ready to go to school, and they say, man, maybe I'd like to go to school here. Yeah, this place is pretty cool, isn't it? And then any others. You guys can think of any other people we can tell about getting into welding would be fantastic. So yeah, it's the youth, and that's a great pipeline for the welding industry. But what I've learned is that it's important not to ignore the others. Critical role, placements. My school's measured on job placement. I'm an accredited institution. So I got to report every other day to the Department of Ed and Accreditation Department. Send them 5,000 reports a year, make sure we're all good and compliant. So we're measured on job placement rate. The easiest thing to do with my graduates is get them a job. I got plenty of jobs. Anybody here wants to come to my school, I got a board that shows I got 88 companies on the wall. I got 402 positions I can't fill in the welding industry. I graduate students every 4 weeks. I start them every 4 weeks. I can't fill those jobs. Can't. But what we can do is we make it a point to get to know employers in all states, not every employer, but most welding employers in all states, to give these graduates a variety, a choice. A lot of these guys come to school, they want to go home, right? Some don't want to go home, and they want to travel the country and work the pipeline. So we've made it very important to develop better relationships with industry clients. This gentleman before me, I didn't hear his whole talk, but he was talking about how do I get relationships with industry? Communicate. He's right. School's got to be active with business. And it's easy to get active with business because you got nothing to sell them. Don't cost you anything to hire one of my students. So we try and diversify. We try and make nice relationships with union halls, ironworkers, UA, multi-segments. We don't just look at metal fab or general industry. We look at industries across the board. We look at alternative energy. We look at consumer products because they all require welding in some way, shape, or form. Pull strategies, partnerships. One thing that's kind of cool we're doing is we're trying to form relationships with companies in certain markets to say, if I stand toe-to-toe with 3 large employers in Kansas City, Missouri, for example, if you collectively can go as a team and visit schools, then that alleviates a lot of the risk of maybe a student that may want to come to your school because you got an employer standing with you to say, look, you go to school, you do your job, you get a good GPA, you show up, good student, we're standing here when you graduate. So it's kind of a push-pull. And then a lot of web-based communications. All the kids in my school got smartphones on their hip. I mean, they're all Facebook and LinkedIn and Twittered, and my goodness. My daughter, she is 15. I check on her at night, and she's sleeping on her bed. And she's got a laptop plugged in on this side of her head, and she's got a cell phone plugged into the wall on this side of her head. She is literally seconds away from communicating with her entire network of whatever she communicates with. My time's up. That's the end of the presentation. Thank you.